Hey Canucks fans, I want to talk about the virtual hot stove lunch from earlier today and the fact that I got a DM from Roberto Luongo. I'm Clay Emo, I'm at Canuck Clay on Twitter. I'm at Clayton Emo on Instagram. I'm the founder of the GLCPC, the Good Looking Canucks Positivity Club. This is my Canucks take, all in one take. It's Clay's Canucks commentary for Friday, December the 11th. This is where you get Canucks insight that's positive and timely. I'm back at home. I worked this morning and then I attended this Canucks lunch thing, which I'm going to talk about. And then I came back home and I'm going to be studying for the rest of the day as I have my final for my master's tonight. Thanks in advance for the well wishes of good luck. But yes, this virtual hot stove today was a lot of fun. It was hosted by the Canucks alumni, and it was Dan Murphy of Sportsnet, and it was the three musketeers, so to speak. It was Kevin Bieksa, Ryan Kesler, and Alex Burrows. A lot of funny stuff. They went for almost an hour. Some of it was what they're doing now, but a lot of it was memories of their time together playing with the Vancouver Canucks. And we know that those are three characters, right? They all came up together through the Manitoba Moose and then got called up within a year or two of each other to the big club. And they're a big part of the Canucks' success through 2009, 10, 11, 12, 13, before they all went their separate ways. But as you can imagine, Kevin Bieksa was probably the most polished from a standpoint of he's done a lot on TV and he's just a really smooth talker and tells a great storyteller. Alex Burrows had the best internet connection of the three. He was the only one that wasn't cutting out or wasn't lagging or wasn't freezing, and he was great. You know, Burrows very likable, maybe the most likable of the three from a standpoint of all three of them were heart and soul guys, but maybe the infamy or controversy, not so much with Bieksa either, but didn't follow him. Although, as I say that, he is the guy who bit one of the Boston players' fingers once. So anyways, but Burrows came across very likable. And Ryan Kesler is pretty funny. He was great too. He's probably the least polished of the three when it comes to speaking. And his internet connection was bad. I don't know if what he was on, if he was on dial-up or whatever, but it actually, his picture kept freezing for the first half, and the second half, it was very choppy. At least his audio was okay, but the picture kept freezing. But technical aspects or issues aside, it was wonderful to see the three of them together. It was wonderful to hear them banter, to chirp each other, to tell stories. A lot of the stories we had heard before, including the fights with Fedorov, including the lobster in Ryan Kesler's hotel, in his bed in the hotel room and things like that. But it's still nice to see all three of them kind of going at each other. And there are a couple of things that I want to bring up that I found very interesting, and I'll try and relate it to at least a couple of the points to the current Vancouver Canucks. And then I'll end off with the story of Roberto Luongo DMing me. So it started off, and actually it was good. Bieksa, actually Kesler was talking about how he did play against Pettersson for one season in Petey's rookie year before Kesler got hurt. And Kesler talked about how tough Pettersson was to play against, how determined he was as a young player. Kesler's job was to try and make life tough for Petey, and he said that Petey passed the test. And then Alex Burrows was talking about Quinn Hughes and how good Hughes is, especially with his skating and things. And then that led to Bieksa chirping Burrows about his accent, in that he didn't say the word. Actually, I think Bieksa complimented Burrows in saying the word hips as opposed to hips without the H, which maybe Burrows used to do. I don't know. And then Bieksa started talking about how competitive the 2011 Canucks were, not just with other teams, but more to start off internally. How Bieksa, Kesler, Luongo, and Burrows and the Sedins were all so competitive with each other internally. Then that led to obviously a tighter team, great chemistry, and the whole one for all for one attitude that took them so far, one game short of the Stanley Cup. Of course, they talked about that disappointment, and you can tell it still eats Ryan Kesler to this day. Speaking of Kesler, he acknowledged that the team would have likely been broken up to its core if the Canucks had indeed choked and lost to the Chicago Blackhawks in the first round in 2011. And he also made a great point that he said that the core of him, Burrows, Bieksa, Luongo, and the Sedins, when they came in, they looked up to the previous core of Marcus Naslin, of Todd Bertuzzi, of Brendan Morrison, and Matthias Olin. So it's kind of neat to hear this core, and everyone knows how tight they were, kind of pay respect to the guys ahead of them, just as I'm sure as Petey and Quinn Hughes, even though they didn't get to play with them, but guys like maybe Horvat and Besser would have paid tribute to the Sedins and the legends of Bieksa, Kesler, Burrows, and Luongo. And, it's kind of neat to think that our core now is the core four. And now I add Demko in there as well. The core four of Pettersson, Hughes, Horvat, and Besser. Demko is likely going to be in there. And then there's some auxiliaries like JT Miller and hopefully Nate Schmidt and stuff like that. But this will be the core that will hopefully lead the Canucks to great success over the next few years. But it's nice to see this old core of the three guys chumming it and yucking it up and stuff. Then, as I mentioned, Ryan Kesler had his faulty internet connection in and out. A guy named Strongbone1 in the chat said, "Classic Kes, broken vid, broken body." So a lot of people got all excited. They thought that Luongo was actually in the chat as well, not on screen, but in the chat box with all of us normal people. And then someone on there, Ellen Ransford, who knows Luongo personally, actually reached out to him by DM and confirmed that it wasn't him, but it got excited. Got people excited. I even tweeted about it. I said, "Amazing if this is actually Strongbone1 commenting on Kesler's poor internet connection." And then crying face emoji, crying laughing emoji. And then actually that led to Roberto Luongo DMing me from a Strongbone account saying, "Hey, it wasn't me." And I said, "Oh, thanks for the clarification." And then I did a quick clarifying tweet. And then it led to a nice exchange that I was having with Luongo in our DMs, which is kind of cool. His DMs are open. He doesn't follow me, but his DMs are open. So we were able to have a quick chat, a quick catch up on the back end. I invited him to be part of my YouTube channel, Zoom interviews. He politely declined, but I'm still holding out hope that will happen in the near future. But yeah, it was great to even have a quick exchange with Roberto Luongo over Twitter direct messages. Then I went back to Bieksa. Bieksa was pretty funny. He said that, the Sedins were obviously present in all the rounds, but he just talked about the legends that they built and that how Burrows, Dragon Slayer, how Burrows beat the Blackhawks, how Kesler was such a beast, and how Kesler beat the Predators, and how Luongo and Bieksa beat the Sharks, i.e. the Stanchion assisted goal. And then Bieksa says, "But then all together, we couldn't beat the Bruins, or we lost to the Bruins." So I thought that was pretty funny. There's some self-awareness there, but he set the joke up so well, right? Burrows beat the Blackhawks, Kesler beat the Predators, me and Luongo beat the Sharks, and then all together, we lost to the Boston Bruins. So that was pretty funny, but he saved his best for last. And at the very end, after they awarded the big 50-50 prize of $152,000, Bieksa ended off the chat by saying, if the winner took home $152K, isn't that the same cost of buying out Kesler's contract? Hilarious. I thought that was really, really funny, really, really witty. And we know that Kesler is still technically active. He's getting paid, but he's been on the long-term IR for a season or in a bit. So I thought that was really, really a nice chirp from Bieksa and a great way to end it off. It's really funny, all three came across really well. Bieksa is the most polished of the three. And I think I've told you guys before, Bieksa actually blocked me on Twitter, which is fine. There are not a lot of people that have blocked me. I just kind of think it's kind of funny. I don't think it was personal unless, but it did happen on the day that we wrote a song about him, Eddie Lack, and Zach Kassian getting traded or let go by the Vancouver Canucks all around the same time. And I don't know, maybe he didn't like that song. Maybe he didn't like everyone replying and having him tagged in the mentions. Maybe he didn't like my singing. I don't know, but ever since then, 5 or 6 years ago, Bieksa has blocked me on Twitter, and I've slowly gotten over it. Even though people have gone back to me, even writing to him saying, "Hey, unblock Canuck Clay," but that's okay. That's not a big deal. So overall, it was wonderful to see them. They look great. It was wonderful to hear from all of them. Great stories, and to hear them talk about how tight that core was and how close they were and how much joy and fun they had on the road, yet how much it stung when they lost that final game. That's what more can you ask for from competitors, from guys representing your community, your team, your city, and just laying it all there on the ice. And that's kind of, as I was thinking about this current core, will Pettersson, Hughes, and Besser and Horvat and Demko ever be as close as these guys were? Tough to say. It's a different time now. This is more than a decade, or about a decade later. Different pressures, different things to occupy your time. Yet bottom line is they're still playing hockey and they're still wanting to win the Stanley Cup. So maybe for a comment today, Canucks fans, you could share your favorite stories of Bieksa, Kesler, or Burrows. You can talk about Ring of Honor for maybe Bieksa or Kesler, given that Burrows is up there. And you can talk about what this current core is going to be like. Or will they be as close, or do they need to be as close as, say, that the guys were a decade ago. I think our current core will be just as competitive, especially Pettersson. He's a real competitive person. But will they be as close, say, on the road, or will they have such crazy stories as these guys did and these guys shared? Tough to say. I don't think they have to be successful, but it makes for a great storytelling and great reminiscing for sure. So Canucks fans, leave a comment below about anything I talked about. Bieksa, Kesler, Burrows, their impact, their legacy, their stories. Luongo DMing me, or what the current core, what the potential is for them as a core together. Leave a comment. I love to read, react, and reply as always. And subscribe if you'd like to. Like this video if you like to. Stay safe, stay healthy. Take care of yourselves and take care of each other. Have a great day. God bless. And go Canucks go.